What is up, guys, and welcome to another one of my tutorials. Last week we were talking about shooting in manual. We went a little bit further in depth on just how you can shoot in manual and the different combinations that you can use with that. But today we're actually putting our cameras down, taking out our memory cards, and actually going into some editing softwares on our computers. Now today I'll be talking to you about Lightroom and just walking you through all the way from the import stage to editing your photos and up to the export stage. So we'll be basically showing you how you can turn your images from this to this. Keep watching, guys. So let's get into this Adobe Lightroom tutorial. Right here we're gonna screen share so you can see exactly what I'm doing. So we're in Adobe Lightroom, and this is essentially the screen that you meet when you open Adobe Lightroom. This is just the gallery of all the images that I have ever imported. So even when you open your Lightroom, if you're opening it for the first time, obviously you won't see any images, but this is what you meet when you open Adobe Lightroom. So the first thing we want to do, of course, is import those images from our photo shoot. So what you do is go down to the left side of the screen there and you click import, and this is the import dialog. Now a few things that you need to know when you look at the import dialog. These tabs here on your left are for where you're importing your files from, and these on your right are for where you want your files to be imported to. So for me, the files that I picked for this tutorial are in the memory card. So you just go down to EOS Digital here, and then I click on the folder TUT, and these are the images that I want to use for today's tutorial. So you have all of them checked up here, and once you have all those images checked, you go on to your right here and pick a destination where you want your images to go. So for me, I created a folder under my Lightroom folder here, but you can create a folder wherever you want on your computer, and then you go to that folder and you click on it, and then after you're done with that, that's pretty much it. But there are these three signs that you see up here. There's copy, there's move, and there's add. So what happens is when you put in a memory card or an external device, it automatically goes into copy mode because those files are not sitting on your computer. But if the files are already sitting on your computer, you will have the ability to be able to either move or add these files. So the add tab simply allows you to sort of create a link to that image. So you're not copying it from wherever it is, but rather you're just creating a link so that Lightroom will work on that image wherever it is on your computer. But you don't have those options if you're using an external device like a memory card. So we have the copy option selected here, and yeah, we know where the destination is, so we just go ahead and click on import. So once you click on import, it's going to be importing your files, and this might take a bit longer if your computer is slower, but mine is almost done here. And those are all the files. They are all imported, and now we are ready to get into editing these photos. So once you're here, you can pick which image you want to edit, and I think I'm going to edit this one. And then what you do is you come up here, go to the develop tab, and once the develop tab is opened, you will see your image here. And at this point, let me just open those back. At this point, now you can start to edit your photos. So on your right side here, you have all your settings that you're going to be adjusting to be able to make this image what you want it to be. So let me just get into quickly editing this image and walking you through some of these tabs and what you see. So here we have the basic tab, which allows you to adjust your temperature. If you think that the image is a bit too cold, you can increase the temperature there. You can add a tint, so you add like a magenta tint, or you can make it a little bit more green. I don't want to do any of that, so let me quickly edit this. I want to bring up the exposure, and with that exposure, add a little bit of contrast to the image, not too much. Okay, that's looking good. So now we're going on to the highlights, and the highlights are just some of the bright areas that you can see in the shot. So we could bring that down just a little bit there. Pull down the whites as well, because I was using a flashlight, so it kind of adds this white to her skin. So I'm going to bring that down a little bit. Blacks look fine. Then we have color vibrance here, which allows you to bring in a little bit more punch into your colors right there. I think that looks good. You have your clarity, and if you want your image to look more well, more like that, like with a lot more contrast, a lot more detail. This adds like a lot of drama, a lot of hard edges and stuff to your image. So if you want that, you can put it there, but quite frankly, for this image, I don't think I want any of that. So just click there, bring it back to 0, and then yeah, I think for these tabs I'm good with this. But I'm looking at her skin and I'm thinking it could be a bit more warmer. So what I'm going to do is go into this hue, saturation, and luminance tab. Then I'll go into saturation there. So I want to saturate her skin a little bit more, and I'll go down to the oranges. Then you see us warm up her skin just a little bit. I think that's enough. That's looking good to me. So that's what you get to do under this tab. You can also adjust the luminance. Luminance is basically just how bright the oranges are. So you see her skin becomes a little bit brighter, but we don't want to adjust anything under this tab. You can do that for the greens in the background. You can make them a little bit darker. Oh, that's actually looking nice. Did not intend for that, but yeah, that looks good. So then I also want to add some saturation to the jersey here. So you go down to the purple tab, go down to the magentas, and bring in a bit more color. And this for me is looking good. So you can also go under the tone curve. This is your curves adjustment. You can adjust the highlights, the lights, bring down that for reducing the lights, bring it up to make the lights a bit brighter. It takes in the dark areas. If you want to make it more contrasty like that, looking too much, bring it back to 0. I don't want that. You can work on the shadows, bring in the shadows just a little bit, and ooh, this is actually, yeah, I think that also looks good. So that's pretty much what you have under the tone curve. Then the split toning, you can add this overlay of colors. You can, you know, get your shadows to be a little bit more red, or your shadows to be a different color. If you want them to be in the yellows, you have all these options right up here as you move the slider. I don't like any of them. Bringing that back down to 0. And you can also adjust the color of your highlights to overlay on the image. I don't like any of them. Closing that. That's for split toning. The detail will just allow you to sharpen your image. If your image is a little bit blurry and you want it to be a bit more sharp, this can help you. And the luminance helps to smooth out the image, especially if you have digital noise. It's a noise reduction tab, so you adjust that to just be able to bring up to reduce the noise in your image, so you get the details looking much smoother. So you have lens correction profiles. Now there are a bit of flaws that, you know, the lenses do have, because obviously you're working with glass, so sometimes maybe the image was a bit warped, and you know, different lenses will have different corrections that will be made. So I haven't really gone into much detail on this tab. I just go to enable, and I go to the profile and select which camera I'm using. I'm using Canon, and normally it will be able to just detect, okay, you use this lens, and it will make the corrections for you. And then there's the effects. When you go under the effects, you can add some vignetting. That's a little dark area around the edge of your photo. I don't want any of that. Taking away detail from our, yeah, you can adjust the vignetting, and you can add some film grain. I don't know who uses this tab, who would want, but there are probably applications where people want to, you know, add film grain, but I have never used the slider. And that's pretty much all that you have down here. Camera calibration, personally never used this, but it gives you like a bunch of profiles there. You say camera faithful, and it, I don't know what it does exactly. I haven't even tried to research it, but yeah, it just, I don't know if I really need this right now. But yeah, the other thing that Lightroom allows you to do is, like I was saying, if you shot in an environment, that's pretty much the same. You can come to, you can right click on your image, go to develop settings, go to copy settings, you select all the settings you want to copy from the current image that you're working on, hit copy, and you can select multiple images that you can see were done in the same environment like these were. And then you can, after you've selected all those images, you can right click, go to develop settings again, and then go to paste settings. And this will make your workflow go really efficiently, because it will just throw on exactly the same effects that you put across all these other images. And yeah, that will reduce the amount of time that you need to go through every image. So sometimes it might be a little bit different, so if there's anything that you want to tweak, you still go back to your tabs on this side and you just make your slight adjustments, you know, add a bit of more shadow if you want more shadow in that one, and yeah, just do your minor adjustments where you see necessary. But otherwise the settings have been applied to all the images, and this is pretty much how you can get to editing your images in Lightroom. And then after you're done with your image, you're happy with it, all you have to do is go to the top left corner here, hit file, go to export, and then you type in the name of the folder that you want. We call this vlog tutorial, and hit export. You let Lightroom do its work. It's going to show you how many files it's exporting at the top left here with this little sidebar, and once it's done, it will open the file where you have saved your Lightroom file, and yeah, you can get to posting your images on Instagram and Facebook or whatever other social media that you like to use. So that's pretty much all I had for you guys on this tutorial about Lightroom. I hope somebody has learned something from this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Give it a thumbs down if you didn't like it, and leave a comment below to let me know just your thoughts on this tutorial. If you have any more questions about photography, please ask those questions. I'll try to make the next video about that. But yeah, thank you so much for everybody who supports this work, and until the next video, guys, take care, keep shooting, and yeah, I'll see you there.